Kia Sorento.
Sorento.
The refresh. New styling on here.
New styling?
Been refreshed, made to look much more boxy. Have you noticed? You probably have, because you're the design guy, that SUVs have been like speed form shaped. The lead problem being the Model Y. There's one right there, of course, in white. Now they're all becoming boxy.
Even if you say Model Y, poof, one appears.
The industry, yeah, you're right. The industry is like resetting and making their SUVs boxy. And this is what's happened with the Sorento. It became boxier.
Well, for years and years, designers, car companies, decided that to appeal to the car-buying public, we've got to make our SUVs more car-like and look car-like to appeal so they'll sell. Good news, they're selling just fine.
They're doing okay, yeah.
So now they've gone back to off-roady, and this is no exception because it has the X Pro package newly introduced for the Sorento. There's an HEV version of the plug-in HEV version of this, the PHEV. Yeah, PHEV version. But this is not that. This is an inline-4, 2.5 liter, making 281 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, 4-cylinder.
Yes. But here's the interesting thing about the Sorento, is of all of the Kia products, this is the, if you will, big SUV with the most options on power plant. Because they have the 2.5 liter base, non-turbo, the 2.5 liter turbo, then they have a hybrid, then they have a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
So we got four different powertrains available on this, and that is not something they typically do with their SUVs. That is the standout thing about the Sorento.
It is, and that means it's kind of quick.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive. Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
Here's what's going on. You've got modes right down here behind the shifter.
Yes.
There's eco and there's sport, and you've got some you've got snow mode and smart mode and normal mode. Currently we're in normal.
Yes, we're feeling very normal. Very us.
If you decide to pit the throttle against the turbo, this is where the problems come in.
I know where you're going.
And you can't not do that because every time you drive, you're going to select a mode or just leave it normal and try to drive normally. And now you're battling the turbo. The turbo makes good power. But when turbos wake up, they want to keep going. They want to keep making power.
Sure, yeah.
But the throttle response is controlled directly down here with the knob, with all these different settings, and it makes it very sluggish. So you push harder and harder and harder, especially in eco and smart and snow and normal, everything except for sport mode. You're digging way into the throttle, you're pushing, where is the power? And the turbo finally snaps to life, wakes up, and makes all the power.
Sure.
So this is really just a delay knob. It just delays.
It's delay mode. How much delay would you like, sir?
When you want to go, you think, where is it? Even in normal mode, think, here we're going. Where's the turbo? Boom, there's the turbo. And it gets more sluggish depending on what setting you choose.
So you're talking about modulation, which I actually agree with you. The modulation of this throttle is very difficult to get a nice linear growth out of the acceleration.
Turbos, generally speaking, aren't linear. It's tough to make a turbocharged engine have linear power, come on smoothly, and not just be a light switch, and suddenly you're ahead of everyone.
Sure, yeah.
But now it's pitted against this throttle. They are talking different languages. They don't know each other. I'm not sure they've met. Throttle, here's turbo. Well, there's the turbo. But if you're in a lower eco mode or a smart mode, it's trying to search for miles per gallon, which is not really great. It's 20 in the city, 27 on the highway, and 23 combined, which is okay for a Turbo 4, but we've got 4,500 pounds of vehicle to move.
Yes, for something this size, it's actually okay. It's not great.
I keep trying to introduce this to the turbo.
I hear you.
It's only awake at certain times. When it's awake, it's fine for introductions. The rest of the time, you can't get its attention. Where's the turbo? There it is. Ooh, now, okay.
Well, and then you back off because now you got more than you expected.
Yes.
But you've been searching to try to find it in the first place. I do get that.
And this is delaying the inevitable.
Yes.
It's not doom.
Delay the inevitable. Got it. Okay.
But it's a lot.
Yeah. All right.
And they're just not talking to each other. So this is not really well calibrated. For most people on how they drive it, it's probably going to be fine. But I noticed that with the amount of power and torque this engine makes, so I'm faster than everyone, and this thing kind of hangs on. The all-wheel drive kind of hangs on through corners, and I'm quick. It's not a sports car, but
no,
it kind of wants to be.
Interesting take. Okay. All right. I do agree with you that throttle modulation is very strange, and it does seem like the programming, if you will, for how it's supposed to respond is in contrast with that engine at some point. I mean, 8-speed automatic here, that's actually pretty decent, but I do hear you. I noticed the same problem. Do you like the look of this, though? I think the look's improved.
The look's improved. Everything's boxy because that means luxury and that means off-roady goodness. But most importantly, Kia admits that they looked at their own Telluride to gain inspiration.
Absolutely, yes.
Because the Telluride sells like hotcakes.
It sells great. It's a leader in the class, for sure. Yeah.
Slightly bigger than this.
This is like the 90% scale version of the Telluride.
It really kind of depends on how old your kids are. Do I go with the Telluride, a little bit more space? Have they outgrown another pair of shoes and they're getting hand-me-down clothes from their cousins? Or are they still young enough and you just need the Sorento? It's $49,400. The Telluride is like $52,000, $55,000, but of course with markup and demand, it's gone even higher than that.
It can, yeah.
But technically speaking, we're shaving it pretty close with the size and the price on both of these.
I'm amazed at the overlap here. This is technically a 3-row, but this is an emergency 3-row. This is, we use this normally. Now you can get a bench in the back, so it's a 5-seater. We use this normally for 4 or 5 of us, but occasionally we have a grandparent or an extra kid or somebody needs to come with us. And you know what? We'll fit you in the back, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's the reason this has a 3rd row.
That's true. The styling is actually pretty good. It's pretty interesting. I like the front end. It's modern, it's unique, it's stylish, and it kind of stands out. And you get into the interior and it does feel open. Kia's intention was to give this instrument panel an open feel. You notice no hood over the instrument panel here. They are continuing with the Samsung curved LED.
Yes, I know.
We went through that phase, but hey, it still works and it looks good. No hood, and it has an open, airy feel to the cabin, which is great.
I think the interior here is actually beyond the price. The interior makes you go, how much was this again? I mean, it is a very nice interior.
Is it Mazda kind of?
It has that kind of feel where you look at the price and you go, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, just below $50,000. Granted, this is the upper level trim on this, and so the interior is very nice. I'm actually quite pleased with it. I have other things to say there, but overall, I think styling-wise and experience-wise for you in the cabin, it's way up there.
Oh, but is the interior too nice for families?
Well, but that's a family judgment call. Then you can because here's the thing, you can get this starting in the low 30s. And at that point, this interior is not this nice. It's a little more, I'm going to call it...
There's a brick in the toilet.
No.
Somebody punched a hole in the drywall.
No, not at all.
There's toys and Cheerios and Legos everywhere.
I am going to call it Cheerio spec. That's exactly what it is at the lower level. The things get a little less nice, so you feel a little bit... You don't feel quite as bad when Junior dumped whatever or tossed something across the car. This, you're going to be like...
Why is this sticky?
Yes. So, sticky things should be in the lower trims. That is available to you. And it's also more affordable for a family. I mean, you got to get into the lower trims. Now, the problem is, if you get low enough, you get into that base engine, which I don't think is enough for this big guy.
Yeah, no. And once the turbo wakes up, plenty of power. It's really great. But yes, the interior is good, interesting. It does feel luxurious. It takes a while to get used to the switcheroo. There's no dedicated volume knob, so you have to actually switch between the media setup and the HVAC setup.
I'm not a fan. It's a touch screen that alternates. It's one thing if you press one button, it's another thing if you press another. So you have all of your media or all of your HVAC, and then the knobs change what they're doing as a result. Look, that's a fantastic way to have space savings. It's also a fantastic way to have dedicated stuff for your media or your HVAC. I don't like having an extra touch to swap. That's a little weird.
Well, your eyes are off the road, you're distracted once again, you're fumbling for it, there's no volume knob.
Because the thing that happens is you dive for the volume all of a sudden. That's how you do it. Invariably, we do it because we're lost, right? Wait, where am I? You dive for the volume, but the problem is the volume may have just turned down your HVAC. Like, wait a minute, why is it colder in here?
True.
The music's still blaring. What happened?
It suddenly got colder.
Yeah.
I don't get it. All right, you got to drive this.
You know, what actually surprised me when I first drove this is this does feel a little bit athletic. I'm going to put it that way. You feel very upright in the seat in a good way, in a big, like, command the road kind of way. I feel like Kia, and this is a big thing, and I'm going to overshoot to make the point. Okay. I feel like Kia was looking at Range Rover. They're not trying to make a Range Rover, but they're just looking at Range Rover and going, this is the benchmark. How close can we get in approximating this feel? It has that kind of big, commanding, upright, athletic feel about it, and I don't typically associate that with kind of the mid-level SUV.
It's an interesting point. The color is certainly Range Rover-ish.
Yeah, but the color is stupid.
It's called Road Rider Brown.
There it is, yes.
Road Rider Brown.
Road Rider Brown.
Actually, it was named after the Sorento that was entered in the 2021 Rebel Rally Race. That is an 8-day, women-only, US's longest off-road competition.
It's a very cool event.
All you get is a map, compass, road books, and your strategy. And it's a cool event.
We've known various really excellent female car journalists who have done it, and it is a very cool event. So I'm not taking anything away from that event.
Yes, the event is cool, and I like that it's inspired by the event.
Yes.
But the inspiration for the color doesn't need to be the same color as the mud.
Yeah, I will say,
mud on your...
I don't care what you call it. There is no dressing up brown to make it sound cool. It's brown. You bought a brown vehicle. How do you feel about brown?
Lavazza, crema.
Nope. Brown.
Brown.
I don't care what you did. There's no dressing up brown. Yeah. That is my big problem, actually, with the exterior color.
I'm fine with it in the interior.
The interior actually looks great in here.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. In fact, one of my very favorite things is a black and tan combined interior.
Yeah.
This one is really well thought out. Decent space in the back row, second row, I should say. And I really like this mix of materials and this mix of colors.
Yeah.
It instantly makes this place classy. But now I want it to be like a dark green on the outside,
they
or
have
a
that.
blue, or a black. All of those are available. I'm just saying Road Rider Brown is right out.
Yeah, it's
That's
out.
Not happening.
It's not good, yeah.
This is a mixed bag for me because it does drive better than I expected. I like the seats. I like the interaction on most things. Mm-hmm. Every now and then I feel like you get lost in the UI here a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, where am I? I mean, if I'm on CarPlay, that's one thing. But outside of CarPlay, I'm like, wait, which screen am I?
I have to
How
learn
do I
a
get
new
back
UI?
to what?
Yeah.
So that gets a little bit confusing, and that plays back into this HVAC or is it volume? Which one is it? Which one are you on right now? So there's that. I've raged about this before. I don't like their combination for heated and cooled seats down
really?
here. I don't like it because it toggles strangely. I feel like it should toggle on or off. But whatever, maybe it's just a UI thing I need to get used to. I'm ranting here a little bit because it's not that big a deal. It's all stuff you can get used to. My biggest question with this is a really great option in the segment if it had a different badge. If this were a Nissan or a Mitsubishi product, I don't think I could praise it enough. I think I would be fawning all over it because I can't believe how great it is, because it's genuinely good. But my problem with it being a Kia is the Telluride exists.
Yeah.
And I took the Telluride and I put the same things that are on this on the Telluride, which has a better engine, it has more space, it has more towing. Mm-hmm. And I was $6,000 above the price of this vehicle. Now you can look at that one of two ways. $6,000 isn't nothing, but that is a 10% increase for a better vehicle across the board.
A more than 10% better vehicle.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I'm saying it's 10% increase in price for a vehicle that in every single way I can think of, I prefer the Telluride. Not that this is bad. That's the weird thing. I actually can't say this is bad. I think there's a lot of great about it. But the Telluride is more than 10% better than this and is only 10% up, spec'd the same way. And I think that, for me, makes the Sorento really questionable with one caveat.
Okay.
This is a global vehicle. This is a global vehicle with all kinds of engine options, and those engine options are what make the Sorento compelling. The Telluride comes, this is the way you bought it.
True.
How nice would you like it,
It's for
sir?
this market.
Exactly. So that is the difference, is that if you're outside of our market, the Sorento is your play, and it's a very good choice. I struggle with it in our market, knowing how good the Telluride is, and the fact that the Telluride is better for not much more money. I wish this was a different brand. I know that sounds weird, because then I would be praising it more.
Okay, I totally hear you on that. I guess the takeaway is that Kia is leaving no money on the table when it comes to finding customers. They are not leaving any gaps in their portfolio.
I suppose so.
But also, I take that as good news, because now that means it's no longer good for a Kia. That means Kias are so good that if this were a different badge, it would be amazing. But that's only a good thing for Kia.
It does say good things for Kia. You make a great point there. It says good things for Kia, that this actually, I can even say that. I can even say they have something that already crowds this. It's already this good. Kia's not alone in overselling SUVs with massive overlap. I'm in this, and I can't stop thinking about the Telluride. And that is my biggest problem, which is a weird critique. I think this is solid. I wouldn't buy it. I would buy a Telluride.
Agreed. Well, this has an 8-speed dual clutch. It is the wet friction clutch, so I like that Kia and actually Hyundai, they're putting dual clutches in all of their vehicles, and it is not the transmission that I have an issue with. It is how the throttle talks to the turbo. That's the biggest issue that I have. Now, you and I are always looking at roads with apexes in mind.
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
Not everybody drives like that. Most people don't.
Uh-huh.
But I'm always trying to extract more performance out of it, and therefore it's not living up to what I want it to do, but it is quick and it hangs on. So it just kind of encourages you to do bad things. Like, it's encouraging you, bad behavior.
I think this carries its weight very well.
It does.
I don't feel like it feels laborious. I don't feel like it struggles with how to handle its weight in corners. I don't have any issues with the driving dynamics because I'm also coming in expecting this to feel like a lumbering SUV, and it doesn't. It feels very competent in the market. I keep coming back to all the ways where I think this was done well, but I can't recommend it because there's a standout above it. Right on top of it, in fact.
But from the same brand.
From the same brand.
They're getting your money either
right.
way.
I suppose.
Choose one or the other, they're getting your money.
Yep.
The X Pro package has 17-inch wheels and tires. They look small, but they actually are kind of appropriate. I mean, when was the last time that we talked about 17s as the upgrade package?
17s from the factory,
From the factory.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually works because then you can do the all-terrain tires, and it is a little bit more than a fire road. It's like a rough fire road.
It's a locking central diff for when the ruts get bad.
Yeah, it's locking, exactly.
Oh, these ruts got really bad. Let's lock the center diff.
A little bit more than the
about.
X line, so the X Pro, and there's a little bit of underbody protection and a little bit more rugged looking, but it is a nice balance for doing a slight off-road thing, you're car camping and you're going fishing or something like that. And that's actually most people's needs. You're not doing rock crawling with this. Kia doesn't build a rock crawler. Who cares?
You're able to go somewhere where the terrain matches the color of your vehicle.
Road Rider brown. It's just brown. It's the color of dirt. It's the color of the mud that you're parked in.
Excellent.
But when you're driving around on asphalt, but then again, I wouldn't want asphalt. We've had cars that are
no, don't do that either.
Asphalt or
come
concrete.
on, no, don't do that either. No.
Also gray, also ugly.
Yes.
This would be better in a cool color, not a bright color. Something sophisticated.
No, absolutely.
But
something that is in contrast to this really nice tan in here that isn't just a different brown.
It's brown
with brown.